What's going on, everybody? Kalipas Tech here, coming back at you with another video. This is the beginner's guide to the Cricket Splendor. In this video, I'm going to be showing you some tips and tricks for this phone that you might not know about. Now, before we go any further, I do want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. But with that being said, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to show you is how to change the wallpaper. This is a pretty easy thing to do. All you need to do is go to your settings, go to display, and wallpaper right here. Now you can choose between wallpapers already on your phone or wallpapers in your photos. And by the way, I know some people do get confused by this. Your actual gallery app on this phone is going to be Google Photos. That's pretty normal. I know some people don't like it. I didn't at first, but once you get used to it, it is pretty normal. Now that was easy enough, but I'm going to show you an even quicker way to change your wallpaper. And not only are you going to be able to change your wallpaper, but you're also going to be able to do some other things to customize your home screen. So all you need to do is press and hold any finger on the home screen like this, and this little menu is going to show up. Now you can go to your home settings, you can add widgets, or of course you can change your wallpaper from here. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to customize your notifications. This is one of those more important features because notifications can get really annoying if you get a lot of them, but at the same time it can be equally annoying if you don't get the important ones. So we're going to go back to our settings, go to apps and notifications, go to notifications. Now to toggle notifications on and off for certain apps, you're going to want to hit see all from last 7 days. Now it's going to show you all the apps that have sent you notifications within the last 7 days, and you can turn off whichever ones you don't want to hear from. I personally only really like to have ringtone type notifications, so like text messages and stuff like that. But of course, if you want to hear from an app, you can keep it on. Otherwise, I do recommend toggling it off because if you have lots of different apps, this can stack up real fast. The other thing in the notification section that I think is really cool is the bubble function. This is basically going to pop out your conversations and have them look just like this. And the cool thing about this is that it allows you to do other things while still having your conversations open. So if you're a fan of multitasking, you're definitely going to like this feature. And with this phone, it's on by default, so that's pretty cool. Another thing that's commonly overlooked in the notification menu is stuff with the status bar. So if we hit advanced, you're going to have the option to hide silent notifications in your status bar. And this is something that I personally like to do because that way, if I'm getting notifications that I don't really care about, the status bar isn't going to be too messy. Also down here in the advanced section, you do have the option to change the notification sound, but as you're about to see, you can also do this from the sound menu. And then of course we have the do not disturb, but this is not the most practical way to turn this feature on. All you really need to do to turn on Do Not Disturb is open your notification center by swiping down and tapping on this icon right here. When it's highlighted in green, that means your Do Not Disturb is on, and if you want to turn it back off, tap the icon one more time, and when it's grayed out, of course, that means it's off. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to customize your sounds. Just like notifications, sounds can be really great, or they can be really annoying depending on how you set them up. So to change the settings for your sounds, we're going to go back to settings, go to sound right here, and now we have a few different volumes here. The first one is media volume. So if you're listening to music, watching a video, playing a game, anything like that, that's what this right here is going to control. Call volume. Now this is not your ringtone. This is actually the sound of the voice in the earpiece. So if you want it to be louder or quieter, it's up to you. I personally like to have it pretty loud, but if it's too loud, that can have its own problems. So definitely play around with it and find the volume that works best for you. And of course, there's the ring and notification volume. As you can see right now, I'm actually on vibrate mode. I personally don't really like ringtones, but plenty of people out there do. So definitely do with this what you will. And alarm volume, pretty self-explanatory. Now vibrate for calls, this is really only relevant if you're not in vibrate mode, which of course I am, but say we actually have a ringtone on. You can turn on vibrate for calls, and then it's going to vibrate and ring at the same time. Underneath that, we have yet another way to turn on Do Not Disturb. Again, I prefer to just go here and tap on the icon to turn it on, but you can do whatever you want. It's more there for convenience. There's also the option to change the phone's ringtone. So there are a bunch of different options here. And of course, you can add a ringtone. If you have a custom one, this is where you're going to do that. If we hit advanced, you can also change the notification sound and the alarm sound. Way down here at the bottom, we have 3 other sounds that you can turn on and off. The first one is dial pad tones. So if you're dialing a phone number, by default it doesn't make sound anymore, but if you want it to, you can always turn that on. Screen locking sound, pretty self-explanatory. So if I turn this on and then lock the screen. So I just did some playing around with it, and I actually figured out that in order to make the screen locking sound, if you ever want to, you can't have it on vibrate. So as you can see, I have the ringtone at full volume right now pretty much. And if I lock it right now, it's gonna make the sound. But if I turn it back to vibrate mode where it was, it's not gonna do it anymore. Just another one of those weird quirks. Some phones are just like that, but just keep that in mind in case you're ever wondering why you have your lock sound on and it's still not making noise. Now the other thing we got is touch sounds, pretty self-explanatory. Just another one of those weird little feedback things, and I'm guessing that once again you actually have to have the ringtone on in order for this to work for whatever reason. But overall, as expected with an entry-level phone like this, the sound menu is pretty standard. There's not a whole lot to it, so definitely play around with these settings and see which ones you like the best. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to view and manage your storage. Now with only 32 gigabytes of internal storage, we don't have a ton to work with. So even for the average user, this is probably going to fill up decently quickly. So I do recommend getting a micro SD card for this phone. But with that being said, it's always a good idea to check your storage from time to time to see where you're at. Because that way, if you have something important you want to put on your phone, you won't find out at that moment that you don't have enough storage. So in order to see your storage, you're going to go back to the settings menu. Go to storage right here, and as you can see, it already really says it right next to it, but we got 37% used or 11.9 gigabytes, and it's gonna tell you exactly what's taking up that space. So as you can see here, the system is taking up most of it, and another good chunk is being used by apps as well. Now, if you're in a situation where you're really running low on storage, you can always click on this button right here, and it's gonna take you to the storage manager, and this is gonna help you clean out some of the junk files on your phone, like cookies, temporary files, and all that. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to change your screen timeout time. If you ever get in situations where your phone falls asleep when you're trying to read something, or maybe it stays on forever and drains your battery, you probably know why this is important, but basically I'm going to show you how to change it. So we're going to go to our settings once again. Go to display, go to advanced, and screen timeout is right here. As you can see, mine is fairly long, at 30 minutes, but you can also shorten it to as little as 15 seconds. Now I suggest playing around with this a little because the optimal time is going to be different for everyone. It really just depends on how you use your phone. Now the next thing I'm going to show you, this is a pretty easy one. I'm going to show you how to take a screenshot. If you're new to smartphones, it might be a little tricky to figure out because not every phone has the same method. Sometimes there are alternate methods where you do some stuff swiping on the screen or something like that, or some of them have you press and hold buttons, some of them have you just press them. So with this phone, all you need to do to take a screenshot is press and hold the power key and the volume down key at the same time like this. The screen's gonna flash, this little bar is gonna show up, and you're good to go. It's gonna go right to your gallery. The next thing I'm gonna show you is how to turn on the dark theme. The dark theme is a really cool feature. It basically does exactly what it sounds like. Probably easier if I just show you. So we're gonna go back to our settings, go to display, and dark theme is gonna be right here. You're gonna wanna turn this on. And as you can see, the dark theme is on. Now you can also schedule it to turn on by tapping right here, touching the schedule, and you can either have it turn on from sunset to sunrise, or you can use a custom time. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to change your screen lock. This is a pretty easy thing to do as well, and in case you don't know, the screen lock is basically how you unlock your screen. So right now, as you can see, I have a PIN number or a fingerprint. So to change these settings, you're going to go back to your settings menu, go down here to security, and as you can see, we got two things here, screen lock and fingerprint. Obviously, to set up your fingerprint scanner, you're going to go to fingerprint, and it's going to give you on-screen instructions in how to do that. To change your screen lock itself, go ahead and tap here, enter in your current PIN, and now we can choose between none, swipe, pattern, PIN, or password. None and swipe are basically useless. This is no security at all. Pattern is kind of cool, more of an old-fashioned kind of thing. Pin is pretty much the standard in this day and age. And password if you want a little bit more security. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to change the system navigation. As you can see right down here, we got the standard navigation bar with the 3 buttons. Works really well with this phone, but there's also another type of navigation called gesture navigation. So let me show you what it looks like and how it works. We're going to go back to our settings, go to system at the bottom, go to gestures, and as you can see, system navigation is right here. Go ahead and select gesture navigation. Now as you can see, instead of buttons, we just have this little bar down here. Now to go home, all you need to do is swipe up like this. To go to your recent apps, drag your finger up from the bottom. To go back, swipe from left to right or from right to left. It doesn't matter which direction, as long as you go from one side of the screen to the other. Gesture navigation is a really cool feature, but it's not for everyone, and in my opinion, the normal 3-button navigation works a little bit better with this phone specifically, but I do recommend giving it a try because you might end up liking it better. But this was my beginner's guide to the Cricket Splendor. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you found this information useful as well. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and as always, I will see you in the next video.